Joining me now is none other than the man in the hot seats, along with Sridhar Vembu, Mani Vembu, who's the CEO of Zoho. Lots of exciting things happening at Zoho, particularly in relation to their messaging app Arattai. Mani Vembu is joining us, and Mani, I want to begin by asking you, this whole uptick that began in September. How did it hit you exactly? Did you see it coming? Because some of it, maybe you were planning for, government ministries were talking about Arattai and coming onto Zoho platforms. But did you expect the kind of uptick you saw in September, and how did you deal with it?
So see, this was actually surprise for us because we have been working with government on certain engagements for the last 2 3 years, and the sudden minister's endorsement on like Soho Office Suite was a real surprise and a happy moment for us. And right, so and that actually the tweet created a storm. So that means like right, so there are a lot of access, sign up and traffic that comes to right zoho.com, and we could able to actually handle those. But the Arattai was again a surprise because we know, like say during the interactions we have talked about Arattai, so we have talked about because it's live from 2021, and we have been talking about like say how we look at so technology, how we look at R&D. So these are all the kind of conversations we had during our engagements, and so suddenly Arattai getting the visibility, and it say as Sridhar pointed out, from 3,500 signups, the first day it hit 350,000, and the next day it hit like say more than million signups, and it continues to have like say more than million signups a day, and that means right, it's a sudden surge. And for Arattai in November, we actually planned for a major announcement. That means right. So from our side, we want to actually do a major announcement in November because we thought with engineering and the product side, we have been ready, and infrastructure we have been expanding. And suddenly this came up, and so we have to really rush our expansion, and right. So we have to reprioritize some of the infrastructure requirements and then provision it for Arattai. So that's how we handled it, but it was a surprise for us.
So, is there any one tweet you think contributed to this sudden surge, or was it a collection of tweets that were happening at that time?
Say there were like say two different parallel things that happened. One is from the IT minister about the Office Suite, which is part of the overall engagement we had, and suddenly right say that created a buzz around the Zoho Office Suite and workplace and email, and also like say the right say the Made in India product wave, right? So that created that traction, so that created the visibility for Zoho's Office Suite, even though we have the offering for last 20 years. So that created a massive visibility for the Office Suite, because many consumers or customers in India doesn't know that Zoho offers a Office Suite, right? So we are known for offering email, we are known for offering accounting software, for offering CRM software, right? So other business apps are more popular, but Office Suite we are not that popular, and that tweet actually created that visibility for the Office Suite. And then there is another tweet by Education Minister on Arattai. So he has tried Arattai, and then right, so he tweeted about that, and that actually created the storm for Arattai. Right, the entire Arattai wave has been created by that one tweet, and right, so because getting an endorsement from say such a right, say it's a pleasure, really a surprise for us, and fortunately we could actually scale our infrastructure and serve those demands.
This is coming 4 years after the launch of Arattai, and possibly till earlier, last month, not many people had even heard of this messaging app that is a complete made in India product. So, did you ever imagine this, that something like this could happen 4 years after its launch? You were saying that you were planning something in November and it came, a little bit before that. So, what were you planning in November, and what were the plans for the app, given that for 4 years not many people had heard about it?
You see the whole see. If you look at our own investment in technology, so we started Zoho with the Office app. That means right. So we were the first one to launch Zoho Writer, the online word processor. So that means even before Google had the word processor, we had launched our word processor. So because we want to we realized that this whole word processing, presentation, spreadsheet, everything will actually move to the cloud. So we actually started building that from 2005. But then for the last 20 years, it's part of our bundles, and we have our own user base in the businesses which uses the Office suite, and it used to be free for consumers. So that is not right. So we never marketed it in that sense. Same way for Arattai. So we know, like say, India needs a foundational technology like communication platform, which is made in India, where the data resides in India. And so we started building this, say, 5 years before, and then we launched the first version 4 years before. And we have been investing on R&D. So there is a team that is continuously enhancing this. And this messaging platform is also like based on, built on the same tech stack that is being used for our business apps. So for businesses, we already offer a platform called Zoho Click, so which is used by businesses messaging, business messaging, and the same stack is what we use for Arattai. So in that sense, we have been investing on it, and what we were planning in November is like say another major announcement with the right say PR campaign and the marketing campaign, and I'm sure none of it would have matched the level of demand that this tweet has generated. So no
You don't
marketing.
need that PR campaign anymore. It
Yes,
saves
yeah.
you money.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's true.
So, but I want to ask you, Mani, because lots of people are contemplating that actually an Indian messaging app would never be able to compete with a WhatsApp or a Telegram because the subscriber base will not be large enough, and that this could very well go the coup way. What are your thoughts on that?
See, it is very hard to predict this because, right, say it depends on a lot of different factors, not just, right, say we can't compare, once again, we can't compare, like, right, say, based on past experiences because a lot of things are changing around. And the other thing is, like, say, what kind of functionalities we bring in the app. So how are we going to differentiate this from the other apps? And how much of, see, the whole demand now itself shows that right, say the market's demand for a made in India product. So I don't know whether, like, say 10 years before we just said like, so it's made in India, then so because see, some things don't go viral if there is no the market sentiment is very different. So, right, say now you could see that there is an alignment between the market sentiment and the offering. So there is a high demand that we are seeing in the market, and now it depends on, like, say, how much the product evolves in future, what direction it evolves, what kind of value it offers to the consumer, how it differentiates from other other apps, other messaging apps. So those are all the things that will decide, that will determine the viability of this app in the market. And that's why we are focusing on what we could do. And see, as a company, we want to focus on, like, say, what is in our control. So right, so we control the product direction, we control the technology direction, so we want to focus on that. And we don't want to, right, worry about, like, say, whether which direction will the market go. So no matter which direction it goes, we are going to keep investing, because the Arattai 4 years back we announced it, and there was a good traction, and then it settled down at 3,000 signups a day. But that didn't say force us to decide to close it down or anything, because it's the same tech stack we are using. So we are not investing heavily on the, right, say on building it from scratch. So so we continue to invest on it because we know, like, this is a foundational technology and this is required for, right, so there should be a real strong technology contender from India. So that's our belief, and that's why we have been investing on it.
So, do you believe that even if this becomes an Indian messaging app, even if just the Indian population on smartphones was to adopt this, this would be successful enough? Or do you see traction for Arattai overseas as well? Is there any current traction for it overseas, and do you see it in the future?
So see, currently, yeah, definitely, like, say 80-90% of the traffic comes from India, but there is, like, say, overseas traffic too. So we don't restrict any. And as you said, rightly said, like, say, India itself is a very huge market, big enough market for having its own messaging app. And right, so, and there are, like, say, countries where privacy is very important, data sovereignty is important. So definitely, like, right, say they are going to adopt to, right, say messaging app which actually doesn't sell data, so or doesn't monetize through advertising. So that's been our focus too, right? Say privacy being our focus, we want to ensure that there is no trackers in the app. There is no like say the data is not being used for advertisement. So these things are going to actually be more important for your consumers. Today there is a lack of awareness from the consumers of what kind of data is being used to push advertisement for them. But more and more people are getting aware. So more and more people are seeing that, right? So once so whatever they discuss, then they see an ad that is relevant to their discussion. So that's not a right. Say you don't right. So and those kind of so the whatever discussion happens in Arattai stays within Arattai, and the data will not be shared for any advertising purposes or anything. That's a promise we are making, and that's where we differentiate from the other messaging apps.
Yeah. If I'm not wrong, Mani, then text to text encryption is not there currently. You've talked about plans to enroll it very soon. Could you give us a sense of how soon that could happen? Because there are other end to end encryption, for example, for calling and meetings, but not for text right now.
Yes. So for text today, we give a option where we say it as secret chat. Once you enable and then start the chat, then it becomes like an encrypted one. But by default, we haven't opened it. So and we are soon going to right support that. So maybe in the next 4 to 6 weeks, we'll have that as right. So coming up for all the users and widely enabled for the users.
Already people are talking about how the calling, the video calling and the meetings inbuilt is much, much better than other platforms. According to you, what is that one feature that sets Arattai apart and makes it even better than WhatsApp or any other messaging app?
So today, bringing in the meeting is one part of it, right? So making a meeting as part of the offering, right? So that means you don't have to use two different software. And the same way, like say bringing in like say the Android TV app. That is again we are seeing like good usage for the Android TV app. So that means like say because in the consumer market when you are attending a birthday event you are not there, then rather than joining in your mobile phone and then seeing the video, so you just launch a meeting and then you just log into your Android TV and then watching it is a different experience altogether, right? So it will feel like you are being there, so you are part of that whole celebration. So that's where we want to differentiate. So how do you ensure that the consumers get the best value out of these experiences? So that's where we want to focus on, and these are all some of the differences, and we are also working on much more differentiated features in Arattai, and that will come in the next few months.
Okay, I hope to talk to you again in the next few months as you announce more. But I do want to ask you, the buzzword in the industry today is AI. And whether it is browsers or any kind of apps, everybody's trying to, insert an element of AI. But Arattai is not doing that. That is a conscious decision on your part, right?
No, see, we want to really like say, say AI, we want to embed wherever it is necessary. So we don't want to add AI for the sake of giving something. So rather, we want to actually identify use cases wherever AI is useful. We want to use AI there for some suggestions, for some recommendations, for some correction, right? So those are all the places we want to actually use AI. So that will come, but that we want to ensure that that comes in the very contextual level.
Can I ask you, Mani, what has been the biggest challenge for you as far as this recent uptick in Arattai is concerned?
So in terms of challenge, it was like say suddenly scaling your infrastructure because we planned for upgrading our servers or like say provisioning more servers, and this suddenly happened. So that means we have to do these instantly, and due to the surge in load. So since we don't actually rent our space in AWS or Google Cloud or other public cloud, so we run our own infrastructure, our own. It's entirely our software stack. That means, right? So even though auto scaling everything is there, it's not like, oh, okay, go and pay more rent to get more servers and then just provision it. So we need some, right? Say some provisioning has to be done, and that's where, like, right? So we have to take some, right? Say some load on that. So in terms of effort, so and there are like say some areas where say contact sync or some areas where we found some challenges. The OTP, sending OTP had some challenges. So, right, so sudden surge in sign up has some challenges in our authorization and authentication framework. So all these areas where we found some bottlenecks, we made sure that those bottlenecks have been technically resolved, and so that there is no issue in terms of scaling. The main challenge is in the infrastructure, because you can't just provision, like say, hundreds of servers immediately, right? So there is a waiting time. So all those are happen. So that's where is the challenge mainly.
But what would you tell viewers today watching you on why they should choose Arattai over an existing messaging app that they're using today? Why is the made in India, context of it, for example, really important? Or anything else that you feel is extremely important? Why should a consumer make that switch today?
Yeah. So if you are a consumer like me who right, who don't want your data to go for advertisement, so definitely I feel, right, say the data shouldn't be used for advertisement. So that means you, right, so it's a conscious decision to not use an app which could actually use it for advertisement. So it's the same reason why, like, right, say email, we choose, like say, mail service, that is some people even pay for email service because they don't want their data to be used for advertisements. So that's a very, I would say, right, the privacy and not tracking. So, right, so why some people use, like say, right, choose one phone over the other. So because right, so if you are more, if you want to be assured about your privacy and not tracking, then Arattai is a real app for you, because our business model is not, like say, ad based. So we have never monetized with the data. So, and we will never do that. So that's right, that's our promise, and that's what we focus on. So that means, see, not today, say even 10 years back, we just removed all the tracking from our website. That means, yeah, so the marketers complain about it, where, like, so because they couldn't do a targeted campaign to the customers, but then that's fine. So even if there is some business inconvenience or business loss, we are fine with that, because we don't want to track the user and then go back to them and then keep bombarding with our promotion emails. So we are fine if a customer says that, oh, so you don't have a good sales, rather than customer saying that, oh, you don't have a good product. So that's where, right, so we want to stay focused on. So in that sense, like, so 10 years back, we don't have tracking. And so in Arattai, there is no tracking, nothing. So you can use it with your peace of mind.
Absolutely. So clear priorities for Zoho. Finally, Mani, I want to ask you, because this is larger than Zoho itself and larger than Arattai. This is about the country and the vision that the Prime Minister, for example, has once again reiterated on Independence Day. Do you think this made in India and make in India sentiment is here to stay? Or could it be a fad?
Yes, definitely it is here to stay, because we know how much important it is to own the critical technology infrastructure. Because as a country, we need to have, because as big as our size, we need to own most of the technologies that we use. So being just a consumer of those technology, so we could never be a, right, say, compete with others, like say, we can't just, because we have a talent pool. So how do we engage our talent pool? How do we utilize our talent pool? So that means, like say, every technology, every core technology, so we need to have a, right, so we need to have in-house. And in that sense, like say, it is going to stay. So, and a country as large as ours also needs solution that is very specific to our problems, because we are very unique in some ways, right? So we have different languages, we have so much diversity, and we have so large population. Take UPI, for example, right? So that's a very unique solution for our own problems. Same way, for infrastructure, we need unique solution. For agriculture, we need unique solution. So we can't just use some solution that is built for some other purpose directly here. Same way in messaging too, we feel like, say, as we keep adding more and more features, it is going to be very contextual for the Indian audience, like, right? So that means these things are going to become more and more contextual. These technologies can't be like, so you build it for one market and it can just be plugged into any other market. So there are a lot of problems that requires a very local solution. And that means, right, so we have to build it here locally, so that those solves our problems.
All right. On that note, Mani Vembu, all the very best, and I hope to speak to you again when Arattai, unleashes more of its power and its local power for its local people. Thanks a lot for talking to CNN News 18.
Thank you very much, Shivani. Thank you. Bye.